What's going on, everybody? This is your homeboy E Short with the ENL Sports Talk Show. This is actually our first show in 2025. We've been away for a long time. So we see got my homeboy here, Les Miller. What's going on, Les?
Man, I'm good, man. Hey, we above ground, bro.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what's up.
Yeah. We got another special
Yeah,
guest
yeah.
today, brothers. Um, he's been like Les said, giving him all them elbows, man, for years, man, and bruising him up. My brother from New York Tech, the powerful Lloyd Pike Deberry. What's going on? How you doing,
Hey,
my
how you
brother?
doing, brother?
I'm doing well.
I'm good. I'm
Good,
good. I'm
good.
good. I'm good. Thank God.
Yeah, I hear you. Why don't you
Absolutely,
tell the
absolutely.
public just a little bit about yourself, my brother?
Well, for starters, I don't know if you know what I grew up under you. I, I grew up under you, and I grew up in Brooklyn.
Hmm.
Played junior high school ball at IS 33. Then I went to Eastern District, where I kind of like started my basketball career. Well, actually, it started at Alexander Hamilton. And back then
Mm.
they were so damn crowded, man. So I transferred out of there because I just wanted to play ball and look for the best situation. So I transferred to Eastern District, and I played
Hmm.
there for 2 years and graduated. Went to New York Tech and stayed out there for 4 years and graduated. And that's me in a quick 6 years. That's a quick 6 years of my life.
Wow.
My basketball life, should I say, my basketball life.
I hear you.
Hmm.
I hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
man. It's like,
Yeah.
how was that? How was that? That your experience with the PSAL, at ED.
Now the PSAL, all that shit, it didn't mean after because I was in there with Alexander Hamilton, and I could have been eating some bread, all that bread they were getting, and for some reason, you don't have the heart that you have when you first start out. So I kind of like cut out, man. And but
Mm.
the PSAL was very good to me. We got in the garden and I got a couple of awards stuff. So excuse me. My experience with PAL was on the money. That's what got me rolling,
Right.
got me getting
Okay.
ready to go out there because all of us, had a circle. And so
Hmm.
what happens is when I played it, you play in the high school, then the summertime comes. That's when it's really on.
Mm.
So actually, it's a reverse for me. The PSAL got ready for the neighborhood.
Right.
Right, right, right,
That's my
right.
experience. Uh-huh. And the scholarships and stuff, they was definitely I digged them, but they was great, and nothing like getting credit for neighborhood.
Right.
Hmm.
That's true.
Hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, not
What made you do
not
the New
much
York Tech
time.
thing? Well, what made you do the New York Tech thing?
I was sitting because I had a lot of Division One offers, but I was sitting home and they had just visited me, and to go to championship. Remember? Yeah, huh? Uh, uh, that was 1979, I think, the year
Okay.
before I got to Tech. And they won CBS, and then impressed me. It really
Mm.
impressed me. So they came to recruit me, and I went there. When I got out there, though, that's another shortfall. I wasn't really impressed with what they had to offer, but somehow they got me there. And I think it was just that game on CBS. CBS. so,
Mm.
so I
Okay.
went pretty good experience. I don't have much to say about my college. I'm not gonna lie there last. As it looked like it glamorous to me, man. I like it at all. Tech. You want to know something after about 30 years, the first time I'm really letting out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who were you playing with when you were there?
Well, Steph Stern had just stepped. You mean the players or the coaches?
The players, and the coaches.
Yeah,
Who was there when you were there?
Well, Pete Edwards was still there. He was left over from the championship team, and Bobby Jones. Unless I just mentioned him, Bobby Jones.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
still there. That guy was a good level. You remember him, huh, Les?
Come on, man. BJ was a bad motherfucker, man. Come on, man. The left-hand assassin. Shit. What?
Yeah, yeah. So that was a bad lefty. So he I kind of like played him, which was a good experience. And after 2 years, man, we just started getting flooded. It seemed like everybody from Brooklyn, man, a lot of D1 players came to our school. And it just got flooded, man. Mo Sanford came there. Jeff Howard. There's just so many people there, you know.
Right.
And I liked it. Like I said, I liked it. And if I get to stuttering or I shortchange my words, it's because I'm thankful. I was just looking at my degree last night. I'm thankful for that degree, man. But my experience there wasn't too polished, man. I didn't really like it.
Right. And that happens, man. A lot of times, man, it's kind of like you get a meal and it's like, your favorite part of the meal is just what just didn't do it for you. And so you'll be able, but you'll eat everything else though. So you got with some things out of what the experience was, but it just wasn't that primo type of experience.
Right.
You know what? You hit my head, because the funny thing about it, and the negative experience, and if it gets out, it gets out. But the negative experience I had with that, once they put me in that Hall of Fame, they tallied up my points, and I'm like, how can you guys fuck up a player who was one of your premier players, not the best, but one of the premier players in the school, and they leave out the whole freshman year? So let's just say, for example, they totaled me out with let's say 1,193 points, and I should have had about 1,500 points because they didn't put my freshman year in.
Wow.
And the reason it ticks me is because your boy Clyde, Les, I came in a year after he finished, so he was my assistant coach.
Okay.
And when I went into the Hall of Fame, thank God, I appreciate that. He was kind of spearheading it, and this guy seemed like I just couldn't get over the hurdle with him. We had a cordial relationship, very cordial. I couldn't get over it, and for years, man, I resented that cat for just that, man.
Wow. Wow.
Just that. So it was a lot of experiences I had in there, man, that just didn't hit me. And it could have been too, closed mouths don't get fed. So I wasn't too verbal.
Okay. I got you.
One of them things too. But all in all, man, my New York Tech is my basketball experience. I wouldn't replace it for the world, man. I had fun, did my little traveling stuff.
Yeah.
So it was great.
So did you play with Kelvin Hicks and Kurt Sumter also? Or were
No,
they
that's
gone?
what I said. A year after. That was a year before I got there. They had went to that championship and played Virginia Union.
Okay.
And like I said, Bobby Jones. I think it was Pete Edwards. And Alex Bringet.
Right.
Yeah. Because I remember playing you guys on Long Island my senior year.
Okay.
And that's why my ribs still hurt. Because because that's when I was introduced again to you. I was like, damn, why is this motherfucker hitting me like this, man?
Now, you know what? Probably because I was trying to go up with you, man, because you was a bad boy. You was a bad cat. We from Brooklyn, man. I said, yo, this motherfucker ain't gonna invite me. Not at home. We might lose.
Yeah.
But I'm a homer. You know us in Brooklyn, man.
Yeah, man.
I see you because like I told Short, man, he don't really know me. He used to walk up to West 4th Street, and I walk up to him, and then Eric, I'm being humble, I say it. I would humble myself to him, and this almost looked the way. I want to learn from him, but again, closed mouths don't get fed. So I guess if I'd approached you right, Eric, the things would have been different. But I've always admired your game, man. All that from seeing friends.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I mean,
Wow.
my last recollection of you was when we were playing against you in St. John's Wrecking at 30 and over. And I was like, who's this guy like grabbing all these damn rebounds over me? And I was looking at Les, I was like, yo, this is like, I was like, what the heck? Like, I know your face and I know your name, but I'm like, dang, I didn't know you was that like intense, man. But you remind me, what you remind me of Jeff Merriweather, because Jeff don't let up.
Okay.
Jeff don't let up.
Right.
He will not.
No,
you know,
Jeff never let up. Big Jeff.
Yeah, and it's that relentlessness is Brooklyn born, though.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Right. You know, and to be honest, man, basketball really wasn't my first forte. But when you say that Brooklyn strong, man, we have that peer pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be out here playing Skelly while my homeboy, well, they ain't gonna let me play Skelly while they play ball. They get all on me, man. So ball picked up from there, and I just happened to be good at it. You know? But I didn't, do that Chris Mullen type training and all that, working out every summer. You know, I did what I had to do to get by, and that's not basketball.
Right.
Right.
But I must say though, you're the first person to mention Scully on the show. So I gotta give you your props.
That's right. Yeah.
Gotta give you your props, man. Now people don't know what Scully is, man.
Skelly, stick ball, stoop ball, all that shit, man. Yeah.
Oh man, they don't go back, man. Ringo leave your tag and all that. They don't go back to that.
Ringo leave your 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Man.
Funny thing about it, right? The funny thing about it, those are the things that I was kind of into, and the cats would come on and get me off the court. And once I got on the court with the fellas, I couldn't go back.
Right.
They toasted me enough.
Yeah, right.
And the thing is that like this sport, the sport of basketball for a youth person in Brooklyn, it's like it gravitates everybody towards it. Everybody, man. Once you get on that court, you start getting a taste. And it's and you said that the peer pressure, your buddies are like the way the fans are, at Madison Square Garden. They're not going to give you a break.
Right.
And they hold you to a standard because they, and if they're your boy, they're going to be on your case,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that gives you some drive, just that alone, and whatever motivates you.
Right. And it's like we say, well, like I say, I grew up on welfare, very, very poor, Tompkins Projects. But you wouldn't change that for nothing in the world.
No.
Because look at us right here now. When I looked at you, Eric, I'm 63 now. I was about maybe 21, 22. That's when you had the big chest, your little afro. You was a man. I give you that. and to come from there to here, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I come all the way from it. You guys know because you was here before me. You was there a little before me from the Gil Reynolds days.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah.
You got the Gil Reynolds and Murdoch.
The George Murden. Yep.
George Murden. I come from them days, and them days don't do nothing but prepare you.
Right.
And prepare you hard. So you might can skate through it. But you can't, ain't no passing by it, because they're gonna, you're gonna work, and then you get the relationships, boogers like my nephew, and the neighborhood, all that stuff. I wouldn't change for the world.
Yeah.
As
and
far
the
as
scars that the thing about it, Pike, though, the scars that you get, the failures when you're around those men, and you fail, and you get back up because they're pushing you to get back up, but 30, 40 years later, those scars are my wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you take for granted the information that these men shared with you. And I mean all of the men that were around us, like that, whether it be a parent, dad, or like
Right.
Gil, George, Lester Roberts, there are times where you get scarred because you ain't ready for what they're ready throwing at you. But but
Right.
years go
Right.
by, and everybody knows everybody's successes, but the scars that you got from those experiences become wisdom. And because now, like you said, look at us now,
Right.
and
Right.
it's like,
Right.
yeah, and it's not incredible, but it's like, people need to understand what we went through, what we go through, and how we got to where we are now, you know. And
Well,
I like the way you put it. I like the way you put that.
Mhm.
yes, appreciate it
But
because, like you say, as athletes coming up, people think that we get handed things. A lot of times we do, but a whole lot of times, starting out almost like our race, we starting out with a handicap. They
yeah,
getting everything, after doing this or that. Nah, we go to school like, yeah.
yeah, that's right, that's right, that's right.
So,
And
so, 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 so the scars Eric talking about, it's because we, like you say, we went through it, man. I'm talking all the way from citywide, you know, and you say, hey, man, listen, I got this notch under my belt. And you look, I was just telling my son, Eric, Father's Day, they took me out to Philadelphia.
okay,
And we were talking about some of my college careers and stuff. And I was, man, I wouldn't change that for the world. I said they left a lot of bruises on me, but memorable bruises,
yeah, that's right.
So you hit it on the head. You leave a lot of scars, but it's memorable scars, and it takes you to manhood. Because
Yeah.
those coaches was getting us ready. Who's that boy? Mickens and them. They was getting us ready to be men, man. These
Yeah,
kids couldn't handle that today.
Yeah. And
that's
they were
right.
serious too. These men were serious. They
Yeah,
weren't fooling around.
The shit,
yeah,
the shit they used to, man, the shit they used to do to us was almost inhuman.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
we took it and kept it moving.
Mm-hmm.
I used to see your Coach Bunyan, the way this guy used to talk, and he did it in a proper way, but it was hard. It was like, man, y'all better get right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and the good part about it, though, is that we've seen a lot of the fruits reaped from that. We see a lot of our boys and a lot of the players went very, very far because of some of those cats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny thing, Pike and Les, man. I heard something the other day, and a guy was saying, like, the successes that people have, a lot of people don't understand is that you might create the success by your performance, but people don't understand that you're pulled out of the bunch because not just because you're successful, but because the conglomerate of people, they've decided that you deserve to be pulled. So the opportunity to be successful can't be completed unless people accept you or pull you out there and say, hey, this guy gets a trophy. They point you out. But people don't understand that a lot of times people get, opportunities for things without those successes. And it could have very easily been you that they grabbed instead of me, or Leslie instead of they grabbed, because the opportunity has to be completed by the person giving you the opportunity to be successful. So you could have very easily have been replaced with Chris Mullin for all that matters. If somebody looked at you and said, I want Pike instead of Chris Mullin, then the opportunity would have been to you because they grabbed you out of that situation. Because you can't, navigate yourself through the process without somebody saying, yeah, come on in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you put in the work. We all put in the work. It's just like a job interview. 100 people interview for one job. Come on, 99 people aren't going to get it, and they might be all capable.
That's right.
I mean, and people don't understand the travels that we had to get through it.
Right.
And some people got stopped because they didn't make it. Some people just weren't picked. And with that being said, two questions I have for you. Who is coaching you at Tech? Number one, and I know Les is going to chime in because there should be somebody common to Les's life. But then after you answer that, what did you do after the tech career was over?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, let me scoot back. Let me piggyback on what you said about somebody picking you up. I'm gonna say about three or four words on that. You couldn't have said it no better in reference to, you can work at it and go at it, but if nobody come pick you out, you couldn't have said it no better because when I was at Alexander Hamilton, I was having gym class and I was busting ass. And so it was my thought that why wouldn't Ray come down and check out, this cat, or if the word even got to him. But like you said, if he had came to one of them gym classes, that would have been my slide in. You know what you're talking about? Somebody picking you out, saying, "Yo, now you deserve it."
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that in right quick. You hit it on the head with that, as far as somebody coming and giving you that chance to go out.
Yep.
That never hit me. Now, in terms of my college career, after I left Tech, I got off, go over to Turkey, and I just had my son. So I kind of like nudged that. That's when they was only getting about $60,000, $60,000. So how would I say, the logical came from, see, because if you love ball, I'd have went right away without even thinking about my life. But I had my son, so I elected to stay home and just play ball and see what I can get based on that. And I just went in and worked, did city work. I was a caseworker for 25, 30 years for New York City. Okay. And I did the Department of Juvenile Justice with them little young knuckleheads like us, but we ain't as crazy as them cats.
Yeah.
We know stop at the stop sign, And so the reason why we can handle them because we know what time it was.
Right.
So I spent time there and just played in the corporate leagues they had, outside in the city. And I really didn't do too much in terms of ball. I was wanted to almost fall in my lap. If it didn't fall in my lap, I wasn't going with it.
Okay.
So basically after I left Tech, I just became, I guess what I say, a family man.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that, baby.
No, man, that's the choice for me too.
And that's how we all ended up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Say it again, I beg your pardon?
No, I was saying that's how we all ended up, I had a little but the family thing was what made it made a difference, and that's what we're all about.
Right. That's when we woke up. When your mom said, "You gotta realize when you get out here and all this on your own, because we was out, Lord knows it was in the '80s or something, man. I'm glad I didn't get totally caught up into it. But the '80s was something. And so, and Ball, let me give Ball its credence again for keeping me out of trouble.
That's it. That's right. Yep.
A lot of people say it a lot, and it sounds like a cliche, but we the brothers who literally lived that.
Right.
That's right. That's the truth. That's the truth.
And the people that were up to no good, they protected us because they saw the value in us as well.
Yeah.
So as an athlete, that's kind of like, a little bit of a level of celebrityism that allows you to navigate through what is a crazy neighborhood or community because they'll say, you know what, that's Pike, man, leave him alone, man.
Right, exactly.
And I've experienced that, man, so many times. That I knew I could kind of come close to crossing the line because guys were looking out,
Right.
Leave E Short alone.
Quick story with that. We had this cat, Tony Robinson. I mean, he was one of the biggest gangsters out. And when we went left, they would tell you, man, get your ass back in school, man. You don't need this life. And 9 times out of 10, we'd listen. We wasn't no knuckleheads. We'd listen to that because we know we didn't want that life.
Right.
And we had the people like Eric said, that steer straight. You know, you don't want this life. And then 9 times out of 10, we really didn't want it.
Right.
But you know, we had to taste it because you know where we come from.
Yeah.
Right, man. And sometimes the taste was really good.
Oh, the taste is good. The taste is good. But you know what? It's almost like all this food we eat. It tastes good, but when that shit get in your body
Yeah.
and it get down to so low, it just fucks everything up.
Yeah. That's right. You
So,
know.
so all that excitement, it did. Believe me, man, all that shit tastes good. It's, you know, all that weed and I got to even go say it, the cocaine, all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know, but I thank God, you know, somewhere along the line there was a stop sign, and we know our foundation.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
you know,
That's
we
right.
go mad and crazy, but if you can stick to your, you know, don't go so far on the branch that you can't get back to the tree to climb down.
Exactly. You know,
You
but
know,
that's also part of the game in itself, man. You know, you could be down by 10, but you got to finish the game off. So you got to be ready. Sometimes, you know, you get 4
oh yeah,
fouls, you got to chill out. You
Yeah.
know that
right,
stop
right,
sign.
right.
You know, so
Yeah.
because the game will stop you. You know, if you don't do it right,
Yeah,
the game will stop you in some way. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
sitting on that bench, you know, and you know that, and it'll be in your head. You'll be like, damn, and I shouldn't have done that. You know, so
Yeah.
next time you get
right,
in, you
right.
learn your lesson. Now, if you're not gonna learn and you're gonna end up being, you know, some old craze, you know, Michael Ray Richardson, you know what'll happen, you know.
Yo,
But as the game has
hold up, E. Oh, yo, he mentioned Michael Ray Richardson, right? So
right.
my senior year, right, I got hurt, and at that point, you know, the I think it was the Portland Trailblazers was checking me out, you know. So then I
Okay.
got hurt, man, and was nobody checking for me, man. And then I realized that God is good because there's no way in 1981 that somebody would have given me a say. In fact, there was $100,000 a contract that I wouldn't have
Okay.
been uptown. I wouldn't have been uptown with Michael Ray Richardson hanging out. Okay,
Right, right.
okay. So I wouldn't be here right now talking to you guys, and that's
exactly,
man.
you know, unless but check this out though, because Pike mentioned like some coaches back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. But it's funny thing that we had like Michael Ray Richardson didn't have Gil, George, Lester Roberts, you know, Coach Greg Smith. They didn't have them because these men were like mentors of you. So, and we would have been knowing us how we all were, and I'm talking about the whole Brooklyn community of ballers. That the people that we played for, we would have been respectful. Like if I like people recognize Gil Reynolds, like when Bernard got in the Hall of Fame, right? Like he mentioned
Right.
Gil Reynolds. And but we would have, you know, we would have probably had something to fall back on because we had mentors and coaches that would have kind of helped me and our parents that would have guided us through that. So there were some stop gaps, like Pike, you said, there's a stop sign. There were some things that
Right.
whether we paid attention to them or not would have gotten us just where you said, Les, you know, hanging with Michael Ray. And that could very easily have happened, you know, for
But
real.
Oh
but
yeah.
the other side of that coin, though, is that my father was a good father, and his foot would have been so far up my ass that, that wouldn't have happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
but
So
Yeah.
unless you
Yeah.
know this, I could say the same thing, but I'm saying it about my mom.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
My mom's foot is still in my ass, man.
man. Yeah,
Right,
man.
right. Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, you know, Tompkins Project, boy, we had it rough. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
real rough. But again, you know, between planning the summer tournaments and, you know, dealing with the drug dealers and the crazies, you know, you had
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
gave us and what college gave us, it gave us the opportunity like, you know, we can roam in the thick of it and
Mm-hmm.
we can take ourselves out of it when we need to.
Right,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
And
You
that
know, a
gave us
lot
some
of
skills.
that
Yeah.
gave us a lot of skills.
Yeah. But
Again,
let me
and
ask
a
you
lot
something,
of people
Pike.
don't.
Yeah, let me ask you a
Yes, sir.
question though. How and you know, unless you can answer this too, how was your relationship with the community of New York Tech, like the administration, the other students? How did they like Pike?
Now, again, it goes back to me saying, you know, a closed mouth don't get fed. I really, the furthest I got up to dealing with was a couple, to be honest. You know, I didn't really deal with alumni, no boosters, no, you know, none of that stuff. Now, my co-students and everybody, you know, everybody ain't gonna like you, but I was accepted pretty much 90% of the time.
Right.
You know, because of my personality, how I presented myself. You know, case in point, I laugh at this. Not taking nothing from my boy Pete Edwards. They just call him Soup. Pete Edwards, Soup. And a lot, you know how you got some. Well, Eric, to be honest, you was like that. A lot of people gives us an aura like, you know, you can't even really talk to me, man, because I'm at such a, you know, I'm at such a pace in my life. And a lot of times you're giving off that aura, but that's not really what you're about.
Right.
And so our community, our community really didn't take to let's say Stanford and Pete, because these are the guys who really didn't let them in. You know, they didn't give a fuck either.
Right. Yeah.
But as far as if you was asking Eric, how they you know, a lot of people, you know, I was pretty well liked.
Right.
You know, I was pretty well liked. If I answered your question.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because and reason why is that young man, I used to work out, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And I said, that's a, you know, he asked me, like, he asked me about my career and how people, how was I well liked and accepted by the student body or whatever. And that was a curious question that he asked me. So I'm curious as to that. And I know from the personality that I have, and mostly because of being from Brooklyn, that we're going to get along with anybody no matter where we go. And that's kind of like where I was getting to. Like if you went to school in Canada, people would love Pike. You went to California, people would love Pike. You know, you went to Mississippi, people would end up loving Pike. You know, you went into the Ku Klux Klan meeting, they would end up liking Pike. You know? No, but I'm saying our personalities, if you give it a chance, we're likable people, you know, as athletes.
Right.
You know, and not that many guys I know that, you know, have such stink attitudes that, you know, they would, you know, no one liked them. You know, when it's all said and done, even a lot of people, believe it or not, they like Dennis Rodman, as crazy as he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because his personality, you know, and so being an athlete, I'm going to ask everybody that these days is kind of like how do people perceive you, meaning your peers and everybody, student body type people, because that's kind of important because it lends me evidence that we have skill sets regarding that as well. We're not just, you know, dribble a ball and shoot type of individuals, you know. And
right.
And even your peers, the level of respect that we're showing for you that we talked about earlier, you know, about the elbows, that's a respect comment.
That's right.
But especially for Les.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. The biggest respect I can give to somebody is that when I know I'm getting ready to play against a certain person, it's like, let me strap up. let me check my balls. Okay.
Right.
I gotta come in there and I can't be no little bitch. Okay. Because it's gonna go both ways. So he gonna give it, I'm gonna give it, and we ain't gonna complain.
Right.
And if you knock me down, you're gonna pick me up. And if I knock you down, I'm gonna pick you up and pat you on the ass and say, God damn, that was a good ball. You know what I mean? Because it's still a gentleman's game, man. Come on, man.
Right.
We ain't trying to hurt nobody, but we trying to get our territory. You know what I mean? And I respect the players who, because today in the game, don't pick nobody up. Now, come on, man. Fuck that, man. Yo, you pick somebody up because to me, anything between here and your balls is good. Below your balls, if you hit or in my face, that means you're meant to do it. And if you don't say you're sorry, then I got a problem with you, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, man, You done hit me from here to here. Okay. And it was no problem. I patched this and said, God damn, that shit was good, man. You woke me up now. Now I'm getting ready to try to dunk on your ass. That's how it was, man.
Yeah. And you ask anybody, it's funny, I was watching there was a tape of Sean Kemp, and they were talking about somebody, I think it was Charles Barkley, man. It was like, it's like one of the strongest dudes I ever played against before. It's like I knock him down, knock me down. And so we're just going at it, good friends to this day, blah, blah, blah. And that's what's built in true competition. There's no hatred for anybody. I don't need that. But I know how to control my motivation to play the game.
Yeah.
If I'm a professional, I should have a way to get motivated without hating another player. If you learn this game, that's how you should, grow, because that level of hatred could have your ass saying that and get knocked out by Maurice Lucas or Rick Mahorn. Because it's like you play the game and play hard.
Man. Right. You got to respect the game, man. But I have a question for you though, Pike, because we both played on Marty's crew.
Right.
I don't know.
Oh wow.
I think that we missed each other because I played with Kurt and Pete and Wayne Mackey and Trevor Green.
Right.
And I know you played on a team at Marty's crew, but were we teammates or did we miss each other?
I'm trying to remember, and it's so funny. If we did, we wouldn't even have to think about it. So somewhere along the line, we had to miss each other because I played with Marty and them for about 2 years.
Yeah, y'all did. Because remember, Pike, what did you say about West 4th Street with me, right? When I played against you on West 4th, Les wasn't playing. Thank God. God.
Okay. Right. See, there you go. You hit it on the head because that's where I think we missed each other in West 4th Street. We played in Tillery. And all the guys you named, I remember playing with. But I think one year they were trying to get this 6'4" and under pro tournament started. And Bob Cruz and all them cats was spearheading it. And I think I took off with that.
Okay.
And at the end of that, they took us, which I regret, they took us on this European tour, Japan, Tokyo, Philippines, all that. And I kind of like turned from that and went out to LA with Gil. I went out to LA Pro with Gil. And I'm thinking maybe it was about that time you started playing with Marty.
Okay, and that's probably why they got me, because Wayne Mackey got me to play with them, because he was like,
Wayne Mackey, wow, God bless that brother.
Yeah, man, he rests, man. Yeah,
a great brother.
Yeah.
And what it was, because I knew Kurt and I knew Pete, and they knew that I could score, but I wasn't going to bitch, and I'll just get rebound. So
right.
Yo, the motherfuckers, they gotta miss sometime, and I'm gonna get an offensive rebound.
But you want to know, and you know what happened on Les? After you stopped playing him and Pike came, Pete left Marty's crew and played with me in West 4th.
Get out of here.
With the Mustangs, with Glenn McMillan and Fred McRae. He came and played with us. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Because that's when man, he played 1 year with me. Yeah, exactly, man. That's crazy, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, because, Pete does have that
when
chip,
I go back
man.
to that. Say it again?
Yeah, I said Pete does have that chip on his shoulder.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say something, man.
You had it too. You wasn't as bold as Pete, but you had it too, man.
Yo, he always had it, and he still got it.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in with me, Les, because I'm telling you, man, as a youngster, I think y'all got me maybe about 3 or 4 years at most. Y'all got me, if that much. But it seemed like the gap was a little bit or less. I said you was along with me. But Eric,
Yeah.
I was viewed about 3-4 years ahead of me with Clarence. God bless, another brother,
Yeah, yeah.
Clarence Thornton,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
another
But
brother.
yo, Pike, man. Me and E went to kindergarten together, man.
Wow, ain't that something, man?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's why
My
I was
dude, man.
I was that's why I was alluding to the fact that this is great, man. You know, to sit here and to be doing this. A lot of times people take things like this for granted. You know, that's why I don't give the big fancy interviews and stuff, man, because this is like real. It's like we sitting on the bench talking.
Yeah,
That's
You
it.
know,
definitely.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
well. Let me give y'all your other props too. This is
Okay.
part my ESPN. This is my ESPN moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what the
So
point of the show is, man, is
Yeah.
to highlight people that people don't know have had an impact on the game in New York City during whatever era that they play. And that's showing like the highest form of respect from, like in this situation is to be asked to come on the show, plain and simple. I mean, because that means that we see that there's value in you. And like I always say to people, Pike, there's a lot of people that are on the list to come that we would like to have on the show because a lot of us have value. I mean, almost all of us talking about the coaches that we played for, our mindset, what we turned into as grown men, that has to be seen. People have to see that we're good men and we've turned out using the sport the way it was, intended to be used, minus getting an NIL deal. Because if we all got imagine all of us getting NIL deals.
Exactly.
Oh, forget about it, man. Forget with the I guess they was giving us with the crumbs they was sneaking us.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. The crumbs.
Yeah,
with the crumbs that they were sneaking us. Could you imagine if it was illegal?
Yeah.
You know,
Are you kidding me, man? I would have probably signed a contract with Con Ed or somebody. No, but seriously, think about that, man. That the corporations, we would have been doing commercials for all of these corporations, Macy's, A&S,
downtown Brooklyn joints,
yeah,
right?
man. You never know. Juniors, I would have been doing a commercial for Junior's Cheesecake. For like $50,000 or something.
Yeah, y'all definitely would have been connected with juniors back down there downtown, LIU.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, and this is the part that I appreciate. That's why it's good that you guys got this podcast. And if I'm blessed to come on here again, I'm gonna hook up my background like y'all got it. You don't think I don't notice it.
Hold on. Who's that right there behind me? And Dr. J and Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah, the greatest.
Yeah.
And then your cameras are studying stuff. So if I'm graced to come on again, I won't come on as a rookie. But
yeah, man.
Getting back.
But can I tell you something, Pike?
Yeah.
I have been pining for you to come on this show 4 times ago.
Is that right?
Yo, man, we gotta get Pike, man. Come on, we gotta get Pike. And he's like, yo, Bless, we gotta get Pike. I said, yeah, come on, well, why don't we have Pike? Come on, man.
Appreciate that.
Yo, and I think you know what it took. I wish you happy birthday, and that's when. But look how quickly it happened. You know what I'm saying? No, like that's how quickly it happened. And there's some people that said that have done the exact same thing you did. They said, "Yo, E, I would love to be on the show," and then we make it happen. So nobody's off limits, man. Nobody. We've had cheerleaders on. So for us, like I said, it's all about sharing the history of what we all went through, and letting people see. And we're coming from I think it's 3 years difference because Les and I graduated in '77, so you graduated in either way.
My senior years when we played you at Tech. And that's when my ribs got broken.
And Pike, wasn't Shelly one of your coaches at Tech?
No, Shelly was there. I think he was there either before I got there or he was just an affiliate with them because,
Yeah,
believe it or
he was
not,
the AD.
Shelly,
Yeah, he was a AD. Yeah, he was the AD, I think.
he was
Something
a,
like that. Yeah,
he
yeah,
was the AD. I know Sam Stern was the AD when I got there.
yeah.
And coincidentally, I really don't know my relate to be brutally honest. I don't know my relationship with Chef, but for some reason, this cat, he's a good cat. He bought a table when I got put in the Hall of Fame. He
Mm-hmm.
sponsored a table. And
Okay.
I was like, wow, man, I didn't know I knew him like that. But I think he knew Ron Gagnon, my coach, Johnny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if y'all know Ron Gagnon.
Ron,
Matter of fact, Gagnon came. Yeah, we call him PG. He came to he coached St. Francis for a couple of years.
yo, you know what? He recruited me to go. He recruited me to go to CW Post. He was
Is
at
that right?
CW Post, and he used to come to Brooklyn Tech every fucking week and drive me out to Long Island, man, to come to CW Post.
He recruited
Yeah,
me to go to CW Post too.
yeah, yeah.
He
Is
came to
that
my
right?
house, man. Yo, Pike, you're right, man. I was arrogant, man. He came to my house, man, to recruit me. I dissed him, man. I'm serious, man. I said, CW
Say
Post,
that
ain't no way
again.
in the world I'm going D2. Get out of here.
Yo, Pike. Let me tell you about Ron Gangland, okay? So he would come to my school at Brooklyn Tech and drive me to Long Island, me and my girlfriend. So I was getting recruited by George Washington University, and they flew me out
Okay.
there. Me and what's my man's name that went to Boys High? He passed away. What was his name?
Mike Darby.
Mike Darby. So we fly out to George Washington University. We stayed in this place, man, the guest quarters, man. It was a nice thing. And this coach that was assistant coach looked like fucking John Thompson, big motherfucker. So all the schools that were recruiting me, I was like, nah. I was saying no, 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 no. And it came to be
Right.
August. And I told my father, I said, Dad, I haven't heard from the coach back. So my father called the coach and he said, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Miller. We got this 6'9" guy from the DC area. So now I'm going
Okay.
back to Ron Gagnon and I'm saying, yo, man, you still got something for me at Post? He said, yeah, but you may have to commute back and forth the first year. So I signed up for all my classes, right?
Yeah.
And Big Dom McAllister says to me, he said, yo, man, where you going to school? I said, I'm going to Post. He said, man, what? He said, we bust their ass every year. I said, where do you go to school? He said, Hartwick. I said, where is Hartwick? He said, Oneana. I said, where the Oneana? Next thing I know, the coach calls me. I go up there. I love it. It was more money, everything. And I ended up at Hartwick, man. And
Ain't
then
that
Ron
something,
Gagnon,
man?
and then Ron Gagnon, the first time that we played Post, I'm on the cover of the magazine, and he said,
Right.
"Oh, so this is why you came here." And I said, "Oh, but now you're in a New York. It was a New York Tech game. It was a New York Tech game. So this motherfucker left Post and went to New York Tech. Okay, and I'm sitting there, so there's no allegiance, man. You know what I'm saying? So he's mad at me. He's mad at me because I didn't go to Post, but then he was going to be gone anyway.
Yeah. But you know what? You see now I'm glad you shared some of that because the little bit I let out about my the inconsistency I had when I went there for my career. I stayed there. I was gonna cut out after my sophomore year. I was gonna transfer to Gannon.
Oh,
I went up to Gannon. I was gonna transfer it up there, but I think I was sitting in the house and the fucking Ku Klux Klan was marching around the corner.
Oh, forget
So,
that.
I got the hell out of there. I got out and I came back to Tech. So I stayed there my 4 years, and the piggyback on again, say piggyback, what Eric was saying about the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
My NIL was getting that degree because all that shit was free.
Come on, man.
That's my number one. So that was my NIL from that, and I cherished that. I said, man, if this shit gonna be free, And all our brothers was coming back, short chain, playing 2 years, and some guys went 4 years and only got 60 something credits. I'm like, nah, that's not gonna be me.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's my. I just want to throw that in. That was my NIL. We could have had a contract.
Yeah,
We'd have been some bad cats, but that was my contract to get that degree.
Yo, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, and it's so different now, though.
I was the first brother to graduate on time, and I graduated with 2 extra credits. And I was 18 credits behind my freshman year.
Ain't that something, man?
I was getting ready to come back home to be with that motherfucker at LIU. Okay,
right.
But then I said, I'm 18 credits behind. I'm gonna be downtown Brooklyn, my own apartment. And I gotta sit out a year.
You might not make it, boy.
Don't want to hang out with Ian Riley and Earl Fuller. That's okay.
My hands up to God. My hands up to God because I stuck it out.
I didn't care either way. He wasn't taking my spot.
All the brothers, man, would have been there. So, but again, man, it's it's a blessing to sit here and chat like this because we didn't really even chat like that growing up as men, as black men.
Right.
We really didn't say we shared ball, and if we didn't have no weed or anything after, we really didn't share any. I would say, pivotal conversation.
Right.
We made it through.
Yeah. You're right.
So I was telling somebody the other day. I said, man, you know what? At this stage of the game, man, I don't even need to be on social media, but I can't let these crazy motherfuckers dictate it because this social media, it keeps me close to guys like y'all.
Yeah.
And that's the rewarding of it. It's just that in doing that, you got a whole lot of sloppy gravy with it. So you got to look the other way for that.
Yeah.
And that's one of, Pike, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why I created this page. The basketball history page was, and it's been the anniversary was like March 18th, the day after St. Patrick's Day. Was the day I created the page, and I did it to stay in touch with people that I felt hold close to me. Of the era I played, the guys I played against, even guys that I don't even remember, but I remember their faces. If you balled, then I wanted to do something for all of us because I know what we all went through. I understand the history, all that process, what we all went through, and I have so much respect for guys because I know talent. Like I evaluated basketball players for 20 years, high school players. I know talent, and I know that back in our day that we were skilled and efficient basketball players. And the thing that got me is like after seeing all of y'all as adults, it's like, yeah, that's right. I see common themes. And so the page is to bring us all together, share your experiences, let everybody see while y'all were, maybe hanging out in Tompkins Park, when they're playing music at night, we were in Brevoort, playing and honing our skills for that end result. Like you said, to have my degree and to be walking around, years later now, that's impressive. And people need to know, and like you said, like we 10 words might have been said over the past 50 years between us, but look what's going on now. And you're the first one. Everybody that comes on, that's the case, and even old heads, like we had Marvin Roberts on. Marvin Roberts like 12 years older than us, right, Les?
Right, yeah.
And he was like he's older than, actually, like I guess it would be like Willis Reed age. And he was like, and he was gracious and communicated and that togetherness, that closeness, that all of a sudden, like he hits me up like once a month. Hey Eric, how you doing? I hit him up, and that's respect, man, for the adulthood that we all went through. And if we can, we're gonna keep doing this forever.
Well, I appreciate it because, like I said, the camaraderie that I got from this, and I'm talking from and you guys can walk with me when I say this because we all Brooklynites. I'm talking the camaraderie I got for this. I'm talking about going all the way back from going to the hole in the fence in St. John's Rec. We used to play citywide.
Okay.
And there was a hole in the fence. Y'all remember that hole? You know? And to come up from there, you know, and to still be around. A lot of them scars that we got from that, man, is just things you can't I don't even know a word to use. You can't even measure up to nothing. You know,
Right.
I'm so glad that I had it. And like Eric said, he said 10, I said 2 words. We got maybe 3 words that we knew each other. And look what's going on now.
That's right.
So, you know, and us Brooklyn cats, like you said, we get along with everybody if you come right.
That's right. That's right. You come right.
If you don't come right, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't come right, you got no problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to help me twice. That's right. You know, I made my decision has been made. You know, but it's also respect though, Les. It's like I can't, and I think about this like as if there's something wrong with me, Pike. I honestly, and I talk a lot of people. Me and my daughter were talking about this the other day. I have so much respect for everybody, you know, in Brooklyn that we balled with and against, and you know that, and the before and afters. That's another reason why I do it. That's what, you know, gets me my excitement. Is that the level of respect I have for everybody, and I had to learn that because there were times, like you said, Pike, that I was arrogant, you know, and it was, but it might have been earned, but says who? You know what I'm saying? So I checked myself.
But Pike, that motherfucker had a big head from way back, man. Yo, I know that motherfucker from the womb and shit, man. That motherfucker had a big head, man. Yo, and let me tell you something, man. Okay, now I'm gonna get real on the shit, right? Okay.
Because you know we are being cordial.
Yeah. So this is my guy, right? From the womb, basically, right? So we playing ball, we doing boom, we did everything from the tinfoil baskets, you know, shoot and everything.
Right.
And now he's a big guy. And he goes and he's traveling around. He forgets his brother. He forgets his big brother. So I'm still doing my thing. But you know what? When he came back home, I was still home. I still love that crazy motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. You my dude, man. You fucked up. You know you fucked up. But you're my brother. So what am I going to do? You don't throw your brother away.
Right.
And then we just loved each other even more, and we enjoyed each other's everything that we did. You know, I went to art with you. You know, we just loved each other more because of that, man. And we came out of touch a little bit, and then went back together. And every time, it's just like yesterday, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me tell you something, Les. We got almost a similar situation because I had that with Mo Sanford.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, we grew up in time. Mo is like my brother. We tied in 10 toes in a sock, man.
Okay.
When that brother went to Niagara, you know, it was almost like, you know, you want to do what you got to do, but it's almost like you forgetting me, kid.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm going to Division 2, but you kind of like forget me. That's how it felt.
Right.
You know, and Eric could pretty much chime in with this too. I don't think they were trying to give it like that, but they definitely put shutters on when it came to their best friend. You know, and it's like, why this guy acting like that with me? But when the ball started rolling, number one, we got closer, like you said. We got closer when he left Niagara, first of all, up there in Canada.
Mm.
He came down there in to Hofstra. He went to Hofstra.
Okay.
And Hofstra was just fucking him around. So he was like, yo, man, I got to get out of there. So that's when he left Division One to come to Division Two. He came into our school.
Okay.
And I said, ain't this funny how life can make a whole circle? This cat went up to Division One. And I want to say he put me down, but it's like I'm getting shortchanged because I'm going to Division Two.
Uh-huh.
And now you blink 2 years and you right here alongside of me. Matter of fact, I'm getting you in here with me because we getting more money than you get with the Division One cats.
Right.
You know? Right. So in terms of like you said, we getting real. When he left, man, you know, and that kind of like that fucks with us a little bit when your boy, you know, can do it. But a lot of times, you know, like you said, we have our foundation. I don't think they're giving it like that.
Right.
But that's part of their personality.
Yeah. And plus the environment, kind of like, remember I said about you getting success and it's not you going and doing it. Somebody has to grab you and take you. The system grabbed me.
Right.
And, you know, and said, you're this, so we're putting you over here. And so I'm in that environment. And it just automatically makes you like, you know, like separate you from what you're accustomed to.
That's why I was telling Les I can sing the same song he's singing because if the right motherfuckers, excuse my language, if the right people would have came around for Les could have been at UCLA.
Right. Exactly.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If the right people would have pulled him out, he'd have been at you know, one of the bigger top 10s, North Carolina.
Yeah.
You had the game for it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
And that's why and it's weird because you mentioned Mo Sanford, man. And I kind of like, can I get this out of my head? And I mentioned this to people. I told my son-in-law Saturday, was sitting on his balcony. We're talking about this. And I told him, I said, there's this guy, man, that, you know, we did an interview for him. And before we got started on the interview, he went in on me. And it kind of like, it really took me back, man, because I knew who Mo Stanford was. He's years behind me. And he's like, Eric Short, man, you were this, you were that, you were the man. We used to love watching you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, and I didn't understand. I'm still not understanding. Like, I was like, damn, I didn't know that people were looking at me like that. And I'm not saying this as a brag. I don't want anybody to misunderstand this. But it's kind of like, damn, this brother's like saying I was his role model. Basically, that's what he was basically saying. And he said it when he said it, like we were doing on Zoom. And when he said it, like when he looked me in my face, like through the Zoom, I was like, damn, he really means this.
Right.
And that's why when he passed, it was kind of devastating to me because I didn't know him like I should have.
Right.
Yeah. But yo, Pike, man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. When we was in high school, man, it was like after Albert King, man, the next motherfucker that you was talking about was Eric Short, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, I said, yo, this is my dude, man. This is my guy. And I said, nigga, where are you? What's up with you, man? Come give me a cracker.
Yeah, because we had lost. No, because Pike, we went to kindergarten together all the way up until junior high, and then we separated in high school, and that's when what Let's Talk what happened. But then when we were juniors, things came back and we played together again. You know, so there was like that hiatus time frame, and I know that your relationship with Mo, like that, like nobody can take that away from you. And so when actions happen that seems like that, it does feel like you're left out, you know.
Right.
But friendships prevail, man, all the time.
Friendships prevail, and to be honest, me and Les was just as strong as y'all, but in our own way.
Yeah.
Because we could have easily said, man, let me ditch this motherfucking boat. You know, let me get off this shit, man. But we, it goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
You know, it goes far deeper than that. And it's like, I'm digging this kid because I know this is almost like a kid my mother could have had. That's my brother.
Yeah. That's my brother.
So you overlook that, and like you said, Eric, You know, a lot of times y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all just taking the flowers while they throwing them at you.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
And we young. We young and dumb.
Yeah. She
very,
opened her
how
legs,
they
man. I'm
say,
sorry.
how they say, how they say, you're young and dumb and you don't know shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's weird because the tree of all of us as players, like we all went our own paths.
Right,
And the beauty of all of this is the fact that we can reach out and touch other limbs. And so this is how we're getting to know each other now. Everybody has been on the show, people that are on that page that I have, we're all like brothers now. And I said to my son-in-law in our conversation, I said the beauty of that page and even of this is that it's not me putting out the content so people can see, oh, I played, this guy played back in the 40s, 50s, whatever. It's the comments. Because once I don't have to say anything, I put an article or a picture out, or somebody puts a picture out there, the comments makes the content.
Right.
Because now Eric's responding to a picture of Pike, scoring a basket, and then somebody else says something. So I knew Pike when we were in junior high school. Oh, I knew Pike. He lived around the corner from me. I would live next door to Pike. I used to see Pike at Tompkins all the time. And it's like, but then, you take them, and it's actually boosting people's egos, but it's also showing that people give a rat's ass. And I'm my age, the only thing that I have to hold on to like these days is your memories. Because we don't participate anymore. So we sharing that.
That's right. And the other beautiful thing is that somebody will say, you know what? And this could be like a young lady who will say, this guy Pike helped my mom take me to the hospital. He helped me get some groceries. You know what I mean? Like serious stuff. And because people will see these things and they'll say, wow, what a kind soul.
Right. And to be brutally honest, that's what made my connection with our neighborhood like that, because we only, that's all we have to give each other. These are motherfuckers around the world. They're not thinking about us in our community. So we uplift each other. Right. And those who go out, we just hope they will look back to help back. But
that's right.
if you don't look back to help us out, we're gonna be okay.
Right.
Forget what it looked like. We're gonna be okay. And a lot of stuff we get, like our life experience, man. I never forget. Growing up, it's just something that I wouldn't change. I tell people I had, when I was growing up, it's possibly like what I got what I asked for, because I didn't ask for all the riches and all that shit and to be all famous and all that. I wouldn't mind it, but I didn't ask for all that. I just wanted to, once I get old, I can lay down and do what I want to do, get what I want to get, go where I want to go, and that's the hands I fell into. I graduated from high school. My sisters and brothers, when they were staying home and I was getting up going to school, I said, damn, I can't wait till I could just stay asleep. Not thinking that's not a good move.
Right.
I think you said it earlier, Les, we were young and dumb. We didn't know. So, as you grow and hopefully, you go on the adage that, you don't, with the mistakes that you make, and thank God we didn't make too many negative ones, but the mistakes you make, once you make them again, you react to them differently, so you'll get a different reaction.
Yeah.
The old adage, you do the same thing and expect a different outcome, you lost.
Insanity. It's your insanity for you.
There you go.
That's crazy.
But the thing is that all of those experiences and things that we get out, and you hear like other people's podcasts, and you hear the ex-pros talking about their experiences, and like I said, like you're handpicked because of your skill sets and blah blah blah. But it's like that no one individual that plays on a team sport wins a championship. I'm sorry to say, people gonna argue with me. That's your business. Michael Jordan did not win a championship by himself. None of them.
No
It's
question.
like you
No
couldn't have
question.
done it with other people on the court. You couldn't have done it without an opponent.
Right,
So you're
right.
playing and you become, number one player in the city. But you couldn't have done that without the other four guys on the court, those 19 games you played. And it's like,
Right.
and that, so the level of respect where we're disregarded as the extras in this one person's crusade for their life. Michael Jordan, and everybody talks about him, but you forget about Bill Cartwright.
Right,
I don't understand that because the box score has other names there. It's
No
not just
question.
Michael's name and the box score.
Right, right.
So
Is it-
yeah, and I don't have to jackass myself into being this Michael Jordan or anybody lover. I'm loving what the team did to win. So, they made, history because they were the champs.
Right.
And that's
No,
what it's about.
and to put it close to home, I'm not alive today without my wife. Man. Eric's
Say it
not
again.
alive without his wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That close circle, man, of people that love you and they tell you when you're being stupid.
Yeah.
When they told me about my kidney and the cancer and stuff, I told my wife, I said, "Well, I don't feel bad, honey." She's like, "Stupid motherfucker."
Right.
I'm gonna take care of everything. I'm gonna make all the appointments, and you just gotta be there. She has saved my life, man. And
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
I don't
And
want to
that's
start
what
crying,
those
I
relationships
feel
do.
you, man.
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
but
I
those are the
totally
things.
right. Right.
Mhm.
Well, you know what, and I totally feel you because what happens with me is, as we lay here talking, man, I got so many ailments that I don't let out, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you work with it.
Yeah.
I know my boy Eric was going through something, but look, this guy, look what he's doing, man. He out here with a podcast and still moving, doing what he got to do. When I saw some of your posts years ago, Eric, I was like, wow, man, this guy's had a baddest jump shot in fucking Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I know a lot of times when the lights go out,
Mm-hmm.
you have a different reaction, but when the lights are on, you always standing proud with your chest out, you
Mm.
know. And a lot of them things, like you saying, Les and Eric is saying, a lot of them things are motivation and helping people without even telling them.
That's
Yeah.
right. Right.
Mental
That's right.
health, man. Mental health.
Yeah, one of the young kids I was at, they had a memorial game for Mo Sanford
Mm-hmm.
about a month and a half ago, somewhere like that. And while I was walking through Brooklyn, about 2 or 3 cats came up to me and said, "Yo, Pike, if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here." And it
Mm.
didn't hit me that I was even doing that,
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
you know. And I'm
Yeah.
talking. Booger said it. Booger said it to me, and Booger was on the front
Wow.
of fucking Sports Illustrated.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's like, if you can be up there and you don't graft it like you should, but to
Mm-hmm.
be able to say that to somebody again, it shows our foundation, man,
Right.
and the important and the way Les almost got emotional there. It shows that, yo, man, I got big balls, man, but believe me, I'm still real,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
life exists, and real life exists in me.
That's right.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
right.
back then, man, ain't no, excuse my language, Les, Eric, ain't no fucking way we'd be talking like this back in the day.
Yeah.
No. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Ain't
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
It'll be about, yo, man, how much you had, how much
Right.
I had. I bust such and such ass. Let's go get that 40, and then
Yeah.
good night. I see you
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah.
Nothing relevant spoken
That's right.
amongst us that's gonna
Right.
lead us into our future.
Yeah. I wasn't
You
doing
know,
those 40s though, man. I'm sorry. I don't
Yeah,
huh?
we was doing quartz back then though.
no, I don't do those either. Les, you know that, man. I don't drink, man. I'm not a
Yeah.
drinker, man. I was a weed smoker.
Yeah. I kind of like did everything, man. Well, I stopped short.
Pike is my man. Pike's my man. Pike's my
I'm not
man.
gonna lie, man.
Pike is my man.
No, I'm just saying seriously. I don't like alcohol, man. I really don't, man. Like I
No,
said, I
that's
smoke
cool.
weed,
That's
man.
cool. Well,
Yo, yo,
you like,
yo, Pike. You
yeah.
get that bitch ass motherfucker a rum punch or some bullshit. He'll
Les,
drink.
what is the hold on? Les, tell me if I'm lying.
He
You
like
know,
he like he
because
like he like a
even
little
you
bitch
know what?
thing.
Even at the 30 and over St. John's, Les would be like, "Yo, man, let's go get some beers after the game." And then somebody would get like
Right.
collect the money to go get some brews, and they said, "Don't forget Eric's Pepsi." Tell me, am I lying, Les? Am I
Right,
lying?
You're right though.
Yeah.
But your ass will drink a little rum punch. You'll drink some Trinidad rum punch.
Oh, that I'll do. That I'll do. Yeah, that I'll do.
Like he like the bitch drink.
Right.
I drink a
Hey,
pina colada, man.
hey, see, we all had our downfalls and our uplifts, but like I said, man, the glory of it all, man, is to be able to sit here right now and not keep it on the rock. Because a lot of times we wanted to do this as youngsters, but again, that peer pressure was a motherfucker.
Yeah,
For real.
And if you ain't stay up to par, I'm talking about, from dressing, from haircuts, everything had. It was almost like we were men at teenagers.
Yeah.
That's how we carried ourselves.
That's true.
Well, just imagine, man, we were walking down, like, and it's funny, my father-in-law brought this up to me yesterday. He's like, because my mother-in-law passed a month or so ago. So we were talking, he was like talking about the first time him and my mother-in-law went on 42nd Street together on a date. So, but back to my point, we was like 14, 13 years old back in those days, walking down 42nd Street sometimes.
Yo, the dudes.
Watching karate movies by yourselves. With the fellas, man. So
come on, man. And all the prostitutes.
Listen, I was going to throw that in. I literally walked by alleys and seeing motherfuckers getting waxed, getting their shit waxed at 14 and 15 years old. And I'm getting back on the chin. Here I am. I'm only 14 and 15.
Yeah,
and we living in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what our experience, man. We don't want you don't buy this. You can't buy it. You can't teach it. You can't buy it.
Yo, Pike. The funny thing is that we're walking past it, right? And all they want is $5, but we don't have $5 to get waxed.
Nah. But then that crack stuff came out, and you didn't need the whole 5.
I know.
You didn't need that. You didn't.
That's true. Though.
Yeah, you went discount on them. You went discount.
Discount on them. Get the $2.50 in a candy bar or something, man. And you good to go. But those experiences, man, you can't exchange for nothing in life, man.
No.
I just love it.
Oh man,
I appreciate it so much, and the ball part, believe it or not, a lot of people say it was a fraction of it, but it was a big part of our life, man.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
A very big part to help form us. To the men with the help, like you said, your father and Eric, in your case, your mother. I only had my mother, and the father came in and out. But it shaped us into the men we are.
Yeah, man.
And we believe we didn't listen to it, but we believed in half of that shit that they were saying to us.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yo, I mean, the basketball is part of our DNA, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that's what I don't know what I would have done without ball. I mean, my parents were great, but I don't think I would have been a violinist or a pianist or some shit. I would have been a basketball man. That's what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And I wouldn't. And for me, I would not have. I just, with all of that, who I am is basketball. I mean, and everything I do is related to basketball. Everything, man.
Right.
I thought, even to this day, I'm throwing something in the hamper. I'm shooting a jumper.
Right.
And it's like, and just my thinking of, knowing that sometimes I got to sit on the bench, sometimes I got to shut up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't be that pushing forward man to be my way to highway. Sometimes I gotta sit back and observe. And the game teaches you all of those things to show some perseverance in everything you do. Your career away from the game is impacted by your experiences from playing the game. What you do at work is totally.
Hold on, E. I gotta ask you a question. You still like walk past a doorway and touch the top of it?
Hell yeah, all the time.
Come on, man. It's like a natural thing. Like, I gotta do that. I gotta touch. Come on, man. That's
sometimes I do it like a finger roll. I'll reach up there and be like,
that's a basketball player.
Yeah.
And then your kids, they will never understand what we're talking about. But
no. They wouldn't understand. They wouldn't understand us getting our ass whooped because we don't put a hanger inside the door and rub all the paint off.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Let me tell you something. If I was standing in my kitchen and I pulled something up and my daughter was standing there, she would try to play D on me because she played too. So she would be she'd have her hands up, like, yeah, Dad, go ahead, try it, And that, but like you said, but see how it rubs off on you and you start living like that,
Right. And whatever they come up with, and we didn't have the money or means to get it, we got as closest to it as possible. Case point, they came up with the Nerf ball. Man, when you can buy a Nerf ball, you get your hanger and ball a sock. That's your Nerf court.
Here we go.
And you're good to go.
Yeah.
And you're good to go. So the thing is, we was resourceful. And the ones that really, to be honest, the ones that really didn't make it because we all just failing or whatever. But the ones who really is the ones who really didn't put their guns up, man, and said, listen, if you can get that old saying, you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
And you can make it in Brooklyn. You best believe.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be good anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's funny because over the years you hear people telling stories about how we would go anywhere to play. But a lot of times guys from Manhattan and the Bronx will not come to Brooklyn to play back then. They wouldn't come. And so you're right, Pike. If you're from Brooklyn, you go anywhere. And you'll be accepted anywhere. But it's funny how the Bronx, Manhattan guys, no disrespect to them, but they just were so reluctant to come into our space, but we would go there without any issue.
Yeah.
And that was our mentors teaching us that, though.
Right. And that's with us on a local tip. On a local tip, because I had friends in Brooklyn. Matter of fact, my son is from the Bronx and his mother from the Bronx. The only way I met her was in school. But we would go to the Bronx. They wouldn't come to Brooklyn, man. They wouldn't come to Brooklyn. We'd go to Bronx, Queens, all that shit. They wouldn't come to Brooklyn on a local level. But on a national level, they get just as much rep as we do.
Right.
Yeah.
You from the Bronx? Oh, you from New York? You from the Bronx? So you get the rep. But us on a local level, like you said, no disrespect, we travel. They didn't.
Right. Yeah, they didn't. Because it's funny. We have experiences of playing in all of the tournaments that were uptown and in the Bronx. But a lot of them as one thing that a lot of them can't say they ever played in Soul in the Hole. They never played in Breedport, and it's just, and it's kind of sad because there's value there,
Right. We stayed up in Rucker. We played up in Boise yesteryear, all that stuff.
Dykeman,
Yo, Pike, did you ever play with the Courtsmen?
Yeah, I played with Ted Jones for about 2 or 3 years.
Come on, see, now I was on that team too. See,
man.
with the Pearson brothers. Hold it, man, Jim Bostic.
I played with Jim. I played with Kurt.
Come on, man.
Kurt Joseph.
Yes, Okay, all right. Let me tell you a quick story, right? So we're playing in the pro-am, right, uptown,
Right.
and we're playing with the Flappers team. Me, Big Don McAllister, and my guys from Brooklyn. So we're playing against Jim Bostic and the Courtsmen. So me and Big Don, we hitting Jim Bostic up because Jim is a big dude, and he's like,
He's a
yo.
big cat. Right.
So uh, about a week later, Ted Jones calls me. He said, "Yeah, Jim wants you to come play with us." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Next thing you know, I'm playing with the Courtsmen, right?" So now we win the pro-am, right, with the Pearson brothers, uh, Oglesby, Jim Boston,
Fred, yeah, Fred.
yeah, Fred, yeah. So we go out to Puerto Rico to win the championship.
Okay, I
Jim,
missed that year. I remember
yeah,
that.
Jim didn't make the trip, but we went out there and these guys they lost their mind, man. Like they ain't never been out of Brooklyn. Yo, man, we was getting smoked up and drinking, and so we lost the championship, but we had a good time.
Right. What?
So that's another
It's,
team
it's
y'all
so,
missed each other on.
Yeah,
what's,
exactly. That's two teams we miss each other on.
that's
I play with
funny,
the Courtsmen.
man.
Yeah,
That's funny because we played around the same time.
yeah,
Played
man.
around the exact same time, and we never bumped heads on that team,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. Because
And don't tell me that y'all played together and didn't even know y'all were playing with each other.
Nah,
I can't.
no,
That's what
because I know when somebody hits me, I know who they are.
you know what? That's what I was saying. I was like, if I played with Les, I would goddamn it. I remember every time I played against him.
Yep,
You know, that
yep,
wasn't. I remember every time I played against, but if I
yeah.
played with him, I will remember. And now I'm kind of thinking, man, no, because Eric just confirmed it. I was gonna say maybe I thought, hey, did you play with us in Tillery? Maybe we played together there. Did you play in Tillery with us?
No.
No, you would remember right off the bat because I
Yeah,
think
because the team I played with in Tillery were
we took it. We took that time. There's somebody out there interviewing us with a
I,
mic and stuff.
I think I was playing with Dino.
Oh,
I think I was playing with
okay.
Dino when I was playing in Tillery.
Well, Jan, both times we must have just kept missing each other then,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And it's funny how a couple years difference in age back then it
Oh
made me
yeah.
something, you know? Yeah.
Like I say now, I'm talking with you. Well, you was kind of like almost in my same picture frame. But Eric, I've always talked about almost like a big brother.
Yeah.
Well, me and Eric is the same age. Well, I'm
Right.
older than Eric.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now you see how that picture unfolds?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
older than him, and I'm taking him as older than you, and he's out of my picture frame. But I played against him with you.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But there's so
I've
many
always.
tournaments, man. There's back in the day, man. There was so many
Oh
tournaments.
man, we used to go. We used to go from one tournament to the next tournament, man. But y'all
Come on.
never really came down to the LG tournament, huh? Lafayette Garden.
Now, I actually never played in LG at all, man.
Oh man,
Like, but we were like staples, like at like I guess when later life, Kingston. But we played in Tillery, but we used to go out to the beach a lot and play.
Yeah, we played in the beach a lot.
Yeah,
What was that one in what was that joint?
Orchard or Reese? Reese
Reese,
Beach.
Reese.
Yeah, Reese and what was that
Orchard
joint
Beach.
Alabama Avenue? What was that tournament on Alabama Avenue?
Oh, I didn't play over there.
Oh man.
I didn't play over there. But
Yeah.
I played a lot of East New York tournaments though.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but then,
Yeah,
I was uptown a lot though. I don't want to go back
yeah,
there
yeah. You
again,
were.
but I was uptown
Yeah,
in
no,
the.
you were. Yeah, like I said, man, it's almost like somebody following you and not following you at the same time. I know, yeah, you was uptown a lot. You ready to play a lot of Brooklyn tournaments.
Yeah, after a while, man. Yeah, I was like, because they had like the Whitney M. Young where everybody was playing.
Oh yeah, I remember
So I
that.
was there with Riverside, man. And when you're with Riverside, you're there, Dykeman, all over the freaking place, man.
Yo, Pike,
Right.
that's when he sold us out. When he went to Riverside, that's when he sold us fucking out, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. Yo, George Merton was a tough guy, but this is the only motherfucker that can come back after leaving Restoration, and he took him back. That's right.
Say it again.
But less I wasn't alone because it was me, Al King left, Earl
Yo,
Fuller left.
I didn't play with none of them motherfuckers. I
I
played
know,
with
but I'm just saying Earl left, and so did Ray James. Us
uh,
four kind of
all
like
I
jetted out of that, you
all
know.
I know is Eric Short left Restoration Flyers, went to play in Riverside, flying all over the fucking continental USA, and George Bird took him back.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah. Hey, Pike, what happened to your
Right.
camera, man?
Y'all understood me, man. I was trying to take a piss without on it.
Yo, we get ready to wrap this up, man. Because, this was a good show, man.
Yeah,
this was a good show,
it's
man.
real good, man. And I just want to better prepare myself because I really want to come back on, brothers.
Yo, man, we can definitely do it again, man.
I really would love to come back on because, like I said, thanks for the opportunity and just talking and reminiscing. Does the soul good, man? Does the soul real good?
Yeah, man.
Because
I just want to let you know, man, that like Les had said to you, man, it's like we've been, we've been talking about getting you on the show for quite some time, man. So we're really happy that that we made it happen. And also we glad to have you back at any time as well. And a lot of people want to do a part two. So and we're gonna make that happen as well, bro. I really appreciate you coming on. Les, you got any closing thoughts, man?
My closing thoughts are that Pike has always been a great human being, man, and that's just me from the outside because we haven't been like personal. It's all about a basketball level, but I see what he does. I watch and I see things, man, and I appreciate a good brother, and I want him to know that I appreciate you, and you know, hopefully one day soon I can get a hug, man. And you can hit me in the ribs again.
Now, see, I appreciate that, brother, because again, it's like I said earlier in this conversation, back in the day, we would not have shared ourselves like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And as grown men, and as to come through the ridges of life, the roughness and the ridges of life, to see what we've grown into, and to sit and to have our family that we can appreciate. Well, all my people have passed away, but that we can appreciate, man. This stuff is not taken for granted. If one thing for certain, we don't be here forever.
Yeah.
But when you go, you want to feel at least a little satisfied, man. And things like this is part of that satisfaction.
Yeah, and it becomes part of your legacy of people being able to immortalize you and see who Pike is and what you stand for and what your experiences were. And that means that your name will be always mentioned as one of the legends of the history of Brooklyn basketball and earned an earned title. You
That's
earned
right. And your kids and your kids' kids and your kids' kids' kids can see you. Okay. My one last question. How did you get the name Pike?
Right. Now, there's a story with that. Originally, it was pipes.
Mm-hmm.
As in crack pipes?
Pipes like a smoking pipe?
As a smoking pipes. I like that better than crack pipes. As a smoking pipe. It was pipes. As I was a kid, my mom's and I had skinny legs and all that shit. And when I got to high school, Eric said, you thought you was a man, so I changed it to Pike instead of Pike. I just changed it to Pike. No reason, no giving, no nothing. I just got tired of people messing it up, calling me Pike anyway. So I just changed it to Pike. Ain't nothing behind it or nothing. Because if you see some of the I got a couple of older people in my family. They say, man, your name ain't no goddamn Pike. Your name is Pipes.
Wow. Well, that's a brother taking control of his own narrative, man. There you go. Well,
I think that Eric, man, you're a good cat, man. I wish I'd have had the opportunity to talk to you years ago, man, because you hit things right on the head, brother.
I appreciate that, man.
And you couldn't have said it no better. I think you're taking your own stand. And I changed it to Pike, Les. And ever since then, that's all. Some people don't even know my real name, man.
I know, right.
That's a damn shame, man.
I thought you got the name because maybe your mom's and pops might have been at Pike's Peak or some shit. None of
that. And the white boys used to say, I thought it was Pike because you like fishing and shit. I said, it ain't got nothing to do with none of that, man. When you deal with the ghetto, we just have substance and we know what we know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's funny, man. You said nobody knew what your real name is. That's what, like, you got kid, his name is Bobo. Everybody calls him Bobo. Your guy's real name is Mike. Like, why are you 60 years old? People still calling him Bobo.
Yeah. Some of the fellas, if you say my name and they wouldn't know Lord, they say Lord. Who the hell is Lord? They wouldn't know this.
Okay. So the second part of my question is then, so how did they get the spelling of your name, of your first name, Lord?
My first name, that's my mother. God bless her soul. I think she was watching Hawaii 5-0. You remember Lord, what's his name?
Jack
Hawaii
Lord.
5-0. Jack Lord, is it?
Yeah, Jack Lord.
Jack Lord, right. So this is what she told me. She picked it up, but she put the Y in it to make it silent.
Wow.
So it's Lord. A lot of people say Lyord,
Yeah.
As I got older, I said, well, damn, Ma, why you put the Y in there?
He said to make it silent.
Okay.
No, you put the Y in, but the Y is silent.
Right. Yeah.
It's Lord. You don't pronounce the Y. It's just straight up Lord.
Right. Lord. Lord. He said, Lord, please.
Your mom had skills, man. Your mom had skills.
What you want to know something, Eric? I think I disappointed her in a way because I had 5 brothers and sisters. And my brother's name was Sir Joseph. My sister's name was Countess. So I think she thought we were going to throw into some royalty or something, man.
Hey, but you did, man. You did. You did.
Appreciate it.
You kidding me, man? She, boy. She was right. She was right.
Yeah. Mom knew what she was doing, man.
Yeah, man. She knows the deal, and that's the beauty of it all, man. It's like they it's kind of like they had a plan for you, man. And there is always a plan for all of us. And like I said, you don't become a champion by yourself. So yeah, you damn sure are royalty, man. And she did it right. She knew what she was doing.
Appreciate it.
And look at you.
You are our royalty, brother.
Say it again.
You are our royalty. You are our royalty.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lloyd. So yeah, man, we gotta wrap this up, man. And so once again, man, really a pleasure to have you here in the show. Definitely, willing to do a part 2 with you when opportunity presents itself. And it was a great show, like Les said. Definitely.
Yeah. Les, I love you, my brother, man.
Nothing but love, brother. You know that, man.
Yeah, love my brothers, man. And again, thanks for the opportunity, man. Well appreciated.
Okay, bro. Right. We'll see all y'all in the next time, man. Have a good one.